Now we will talk about one of the important group of food additives called antioxidants. As the name suggests, they work against oxidation. That is an undesirable reaction that takes place in food. So antioxidant can be added to food to avoid oxidation losses, and this oxidation can result in many undesirable changes. For example, this oxidation in case of lipids can break down many of the lipids to produce undesirable end products. They can also produce discoloration in many of the products by oxidizing different pigments present in the food. So this oxidation reaction is very deteriorative, and it can be prevented if we know about antioxidant and if we add these antioxidants in the food at the desired level. Antioxidant, they have all different mechanisms to function, but they all prevent or delay or minimize the oxidation of food, which as I said, is a deteriorative process. So oxidation can be stopped or it can be delayed. This is the purpose of antioxidants. They can be used singly or in combinations. We can have more than one antioxidant added, and normally the function or the mechanism of antioxidant is they would bind with oxygen, and the oxygen would be unavailable to act with the components of food. So this absence of oxygen would increase the shelf life of food for some more time. Most of the antioxidant, when they are attached to oxygen or when they bind oxygen, they would lose their effectiveness. That would mean that initially the antioxidant would be more effective, but gradually they would lose their effectiveness because they are already consumed or bound with oxygen. So the more amount of oxygen, then it can have a more deleterious effect on food, because there is no antioxidant to protect food from oxygen. So we have to take precautions. Adding antioxidant is not the only alternative to increase the shelf life. We have to take a lot of precautions in processing as well as in packaging of food, so that the food does not get oxidized. For example, heat, light, metals, they are all pro-oxidants. So if we leave a food product under open sunlight at high temperature, or if there are metals inside the packaging material, or if there are metals in other sources that can get into food, the antioxidant would not be very helpful, and the shelf life would be deteriorated even after adding antioxidant. And there is a limit to which we can add antioxidant to food because they are regulated. So that is why taking care of other factors is also very important in case of food. Antioxidant, as I said, that they have to be regulated, but they are natural antioxidants as well, which we can use plenty of them. But again, they are not all very cheap, and they are not already available in many foods. But some food have natural antioxidant, such as vitamin C and vitamin E. They may be found in many foods, and they are antioxidant in nature as well. Similarly, other than these vitamins, there can be other things such as amines and phenolic compounds. They also have this antioxidative potential. They can work as an antioxidant. But we cannot rely on most of these compounds because they are toxic in nature. So we may have an amine or a phenolic compound, although it can reduce the oxidative damage, but they themselves are toxic. So it's not wise to use them in the food industry. Another important consideration is that most of the natural antioxidants, they are less potent than the artificial antioxidants. So that is why we cannot rely on all the natural antioxidants, although it's an ideal situation where we can have more antioxidant from the natural sources. So talking about these artificial additives, which are allowed in food industry for different foods, the very important ones are BHA, which is also called as butylated hydroxyanisole, or BHT, which is called as butylated hydroxytoluene, or we can have propyl gallate. These are the most widely used additives in the food industry, and they can be used singly or in combination. Normally, if they are used in combination, they have a synergistic effect. When I say this synergistic effect, it means that when we add two additives together, they can have more effect of them if they are used individually. So the cumulative effect is higher than the additive effect of these additives. Talking about application of these antioxidants, of course, they are added to many foods. A lot of foods have to be added with antioxidants. One of the very pertinent example here is many of the bakery items that use shortenings, and the baking is done normally at a very high temperature in ovens, and that high temperature would have very much detrimental effect on the fats that are added to bakery items, and mostly bakery items would have a higher level of shortenings or specialty fats that are added to these bakery items. So we have to avoid that spoilage, because they were prone to spoilage due to this factor. So additives can be added at 0.02% level, which is also called as, in terms of ppms or parts per million, it is 200 parts per million of these antioxidants that can be added. They are allowed to be added in the final food products. But we cannot go beyond this, because regulatory requirement for these additives is only 200 ppm. That is allowed amount. If we exceed that, that would be an illegal action. So that is why we need to take care about the level of antioxidants and other factors that can stop the oxidation process and prolong the shelf life and quality of food.